Hey there, welcome to the channel. My name is Eric, and it's the middle of winter for us, so we've been getting a lot of snow, and I've been plowing the driveway quite a bit this year. So in this video, I thought I'd show you two things. One is I'll show you my setup with this old Fisher plow that I retrofitted from, it's a truck mount Fisher plow, and I retrofitted it to work with my tractor and the quick attach. Something used, I bought it off of Marketplace for super cheap, and it's been working great. The second thing is I got to do a little bit of hydraulic work on it. My hydraulic system in the Kubota is a little bit too powerful for this particular plow. So when I angle it, it snaps really quick. You don't have much adjustment to it. And I need to get that slowed down so when I do angle it, it operates a little bit easier and smoother, so I can actually not damage anything when I'm actually angling the plow. So let's get to it, and first up I'll show you the Fisher plow and how I retrofitted it to work with my tractor. So this is just an old Fisher plow. It's a minute mount, I think version 1 or something like that. I bought it for used, super cheap off of Marketplace. And specifically, I got a truck mount plow because of the way that it kind of rides along this back pivot point here with the flow of the driveway and those kind of things. That was really important for me. My previous plow, which was a Land Pride, didn't have that. And so you had to put the whole weight of the front end loader down on the plow, which meant you really dug into the ground a lot. You didn't have much traction. And this way you can just ride you don't have to put the whole load of the front end loader down. The plow just rides on its own weight. And it works really well. I don't dig up my driveway anymore. I have much better traction. It just works a lot better. Plus, these are so much cheaper to find off of Marketplace than buying an actual plow that's fit for the tractor. It just works a lot better. So to set this up, what I did is it had the truck mount part all back in here in this area. I removed all of the truck mounting parts of it. And then I just took this piece, which was still on the front. This is kind of like the grill that sits in front of your truck, whereas the actual part that mounts to the truck is back here. I took all of that off, and all I did was I bought this quick attach plate here. I got it online. I think it was like $100 or something like that. It's I got a thicker one. It's 3/8 inch steel because the plow is pretty heavy. It weighs about 700 pounds, I think, somewhere around there. I probably didn't need to get that much, but I figure it doesn't hurt to get that thick of steel. And then all I did was I drilled 4 holes, and I have it bolted on to the quick attach plate. So you can see that, and then you can see it over here as well, the 4 holes. And that's basically it. I didn't have to weld anything. I didn't do anything, and it has been holding up very, very well. So I've had no problems with it whatsoever, and that works great. So then the other thing I did is I just mounted it. Once I mounted it, I put this crossover valve here. I connected up the hydraulics from each of the cylinders. I emptied them first so they got all the old hydraulic oil out. I connected up each of the cylinders to this crossover valve, relief valve, and then connected that up to my tractor. So the purpose of these crossover valves is basically if you're riding along and you hit a tree, or one of your edges of your blades catches on something, it actually will release the pressure from that side and push it into the other cylinder. And what that does is it really just allows you to not damage any of your hydraulics on your tractor from having a bunch of pressure pushed back into the mower, or I'm sorry, into the tractor. So next up, what we're going to do is we're going to actually do a little bit of hydraulic work, and I'll show you what's going on first. Right now, my tractor, I think it pushes out, the front remotes push out 30 gallons per minute of hydraulic fluid. might be 16 gallons per minute, but somewhere between 16 and 30 gallons per minute. I don't remember exactly. And it's got about 3,000 pounds of pressure that it pushes through. What happens is that 30 gallons, or that amount of fluid, hydraulic fluid coming through, really causes the angling of the snowplow to be really fast and really jerky. You don't have much control over it when I use it. It's just because it's pushing so much fluid so rapidly into these fairly small cylinders. It's just really tight. So that was super jerky, and that was with me feathering the controls. So it's really, really fast. I need that to slow down. So what we effectively need to do is reduce the gallons per minute coming out of my tractor into those cylinders to slow that whole process down. The pressure will remain the same. No matter how many gallons per minute I reduce it down, I still get 3,000 pounds of pressure coming out of my hydraulic system on my tractor. It just reduces how fast that flows in there, which is really what we want, because that will reduce the speed that it angles when I'm working the remotes up there. And that's a super simple thing to do. It's a simple adapter. Specifically, it's this right here, which is a restrictor adapter, and you just put this in line with your hydraulic system coming out. And I'll show you that in a minute. But all this is it fits in line. You just connect it up, and it's got a really small hole right here. It's about 1 inch and 30 seconds, and you can drill that out to make it bigger if you want it. If you want it to still go a little bit faster. But all that does is it reduces your gallons per minute going into the cylinders in the snowplow. Okay, so the way I'm going to do this is I want to install these restricted adapters right before my crossover relief valve. And what I mean by right before, I mean the side closest to the hydraulics of the tractor. And the only reason for doing that is that basically that means that everything that's happening in this crossover relief valve is the same. So I've got half of the gallons per minute or whatever. I've reduced the gallons per minute down into the crossover valve from both sides. And if it does need to release the pressure, I don't have any imbalance, where I would have that imbalance if I put the restrictors after the hydraulic valve or the crossover relief valve. So let's go ahead and get those installed, and we'll see how it works. So let's go ahead and get the crossover valve. I've got it all taken apart. Let's get the restricted adapters into the tractor side, and then let's put some swivel adapters down on the cylinder side so I don't have all that mess of me trying to undo it before. So here's what a restrictor adapter looks like. You can just see I bought it from Tractor Supply. I needed 1/2 inch, so that's what I got, male to female. It just goes in line. And if you can see this, in that adapter, there is just a super small hole, and that's what slows down your gallons per minute coming out of the tractor. So let's go ahead and put those on. When I'm doing tractors, I've tried the Loctite hydraulic stuff. It works fine. It just, you got to wait for 15-20 minutes before you can use it, which is kind of a pain when I'm wanting to do stuff quick. I just use good old-fashioned white Teflon pipe thread. Technically, you're supposed to be not use this. You're supposed to use, I think it's yellow hydraulic stuff, but I've been using this for years, and I don't have any problems with it. The one thing you do have to be careful of is you want to make sure that you put this on in a way so it doesn't get into your hydraulic system, because it will cause problems if it gets sucked in there. And the way I do that is when I'm putting this tape on, I just make sure that I'm putting it a couple of threads back from the entrance. So if you see here, I'm just going to put it on. I always put it on clockwise so that it goes the right way. And I just put it on like a thread or so back. Wrap it around 2 or 3 times. Make sure that's down. Wrap it around 2 or 3 times. Keeping it about a thread or 2 back from the tip. And it should be good to go. And I'm pretty much done. And that has worked for me for years. Like I said, the other stuff is fine too, like the Loctite stuff. I just don't like waiting, so that's the main thing. So this is going to go on the tractor side, which is port A on this Prince manufacturer crossover valve. I'll put that in there. Give it a good tighten. Good. On this, the way these crossover valves work, I'll show you while it's there. It's got these 2 adjusters. This sets the relief pressure that when it hits, goes above that pressure, it relieves all the pressure of the other side so you don't cause a problem with your hydraulic system. And in this Prince particular valve, the way it works, so if you see down in there, you can actually see the little valve in there that I can adjust back and forth, which will set the relief pressure. And so you connect up the tractor to this side, which is port A and C, and the hydraulic flow goes through here. So this is like a straight line pipe between these two. And so this flow goes to one cylinder on the plow, this flow goes to the other cylinder on the plow. And if anything ever pushes back, so let's say you hit something on this side and it put a bunch of extra pressure back into the system, pushing the plow back, that pressure comes back up in here. This little valve then releases because it's higher than the pressure it's set for. And rather than shooting back into your tractor and hurting your tractor hydraulics, it actually releases to this side and dumps the pressure back into the other cylinder. So you can see how that would be good. You can also see why I put the restrictor adapters on this side, because this is the tractor. So I want all of that back pressure that came from hitting something to go back into this other side with no restrictions. I wouldn't want it to go through this side, be restricted, go back to this side, because then that just messes up the dynamics of the system overall. So we're going to put that last swivel adapter on, then we're going to go hook it, and I'm going to hook on the pipes here, or not the pipes, I don't know why I keep saying pipes. I'm going to hook on the hoses that connect to the tractor while I'm sitting here, because it's just frankly easier, and then I'll go put the rest of this on the tractor. So I've got 2 holes drilled right here, which I'll mount the crossover valve on here momentarily. First, I'm going to test to see if it works. All right, so we've got all the adapters hooked in. We've got the tractor side hooked up. Let's just go ahead and get it connected to the tractor and see how it works. Just going to lay this cloth over the connectors just to make sure in case there's any leaks, it doesn't go everywhere. Those of you that have done hydraulics on tractors, you know sometimes you don't get it all tight and that makes a giant mess. Hydraulic oil, and I'd rather not deal with that. All right, well, that looks like it's working pretty good. If you want to see more on how I retrofitted this snowplow, let me know in the comments. I know that I covered that off pretty quickly at the beginning, but I'd be happy to show you all that. But as far as the hydraulics part, this works much better. It moves much slower, and it's much more controllable now. So overall, it looks like a success. A pretty easy, small little project here just to make things a little bit safer and easier to use. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for joining me today, and I'm looking forward to seeing you at the next one.